Hey folks, we're continuing our discussion about terminology in geometry, and we're going to move on to angles. So an angle is going to be two rays that share a common endpoint. I know you have two pictures over here, but if you think about just that phrase right there, here's one ray and then another ray that shares the same endpoint. So we know that this is an angle. We do name an angle by the vertex, that's one letter, or we can name it using three letters where the vertex is in the center, or we can name using a number. So I'd like to show you a couple examples of this. Notice this guy down here, I could call him angle B. Angle B. However, if I look at the one above that, I cannot talk about angle P because I have multiple angles at angle P. So the only thing that I could do then is to use either the three-letter naming or I can use the number naming. So I could talk about in this picture angle 1, angle 2. That's two different angles. I could talk about angle 1 is the same thing as angle QPR. Notice that the vertex is in the center and then a point on each ray is on the sides. So it starts at Q, it goes through P, and then it ends up going through R. Angle 2 could also be called angle RPS. And then a third angle that's in existence, and I cannot call by a number, I must use three letters, and that's going to be angle QPS. And that's the whole entire angle. The interior of an angle, this is just the region between the two rays, and you can see that is marked in blue over to the right. Adjacent angles, these are two angles that have a common vertex, a common side, but no common interior. And you have the perfect example in that first picture. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. They are angles that are next to each other. No overlapping of the interiors, but they do share the common vertex and the common side. Then we talk about degree measurement. Degree measurement is just simply one of the units that we use to measure angles. And then a protractor is a device that we use to measure angles. If you'll go down a bit, we're going to talk about different types of angles. We'll come back to these problems in class. But let's talk about some types of angles. First of all, we have acute angles. Acute angle is an angle whose measure is between 0 and 90 degrees. This is a very small angle. The word acute kind of sounds like it would be small. A right angle is an angle whose measure is exactly 90 degrees. It's just right. Obtuse, the word itself kind of sounds very large, an angle whose measure is between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. A straight angle is an angle whose measure is exactly 180 degrees. Complementary angles, these are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles, these are going to be two angles whose sum is 180 degrees.